Hello Divi Engine family, Pete here with an exciting video for Divi Nitro. It has had a massive glow up, if you get what I mean, and it's massive update for you with loads of new features that I think you will love. So just a bit of a backstory, Divi Nitro is our first plugin that we developed. It's our initial baby and it was made to help defer images, which helped to speed up your website. Then we did script minification and we kind of left it there. We did a few other tweaks, but we felt like there were other plugins that did a good job for caching that were free and things like that. But over the years, a lot's changed and we feel at this point now that actually we can do a better job and actually incorporate in Divi Nitro to give you the best value that you can get. And to our, we worked really hard on it, but to our surprise, the results are really phenomenal in my view. But I'm biased, but I hope you'll be the same. So if you've tried Divi Nitro before in the past, I'd really recommend you try it again because there's loads of new features, including some smart page caching in there. So take a look. Okay, and because we just focus on Divi, there's some really kind of clever things we can do, and we will continue to do. So take a look at all the features, but if you are strapped for time and you only want to have a look at one or two, the main one I want you to look at is the smart caching, so it's fragment caching, and so take a look at that if you are going to look at one thing, but check it all out. And I thought right now I could just jump straight in and show you because it's on our website at the moment now. And I thought what better place to test it than on diviengine.com. So what I have is I have two websites over here. I have diviengine.com and our staging website. So diviengine.com, just to let you know, is running through Cloudflare. And when I did my tests, when I had Divi Nitro on the staging website, it was just as significantly faster. So Cloudflare is not really impacting these tests, just so you know. Just want to kind of point that out. Okay, because I don't really have any aggressive caching on Cloudflare. Okay, so I just thought I'd show you now. DiviEngine.com's got Divi Nitro, the new version. So if I reload that, it's like almost instant, so under a second. With WP fastest cache, you can see it's like 1.5 seconds. Divi Nitro is like literally instant. Okay, I'm just going to scroll down so you can see that everything's still looking the same, so it's not like things are all broken on the site. So this is the staging website on the right hand side, as I was saying. Let's head over to Divi Body Commerce so it's almost like 3 seconds. If I go onto the Divi Nitro version, it's instant again. Great. Let's head over to Divi Machine. Let's check that out. Instant. And on here, 1, 2, 3. So it's kind of 3 seconds. Things are all looking the same. So there are some kind of tweaks I had to do to make things work 100% correct. Let's just check this out. Yeah, everything's looking the same, the pricing page. 1, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a bit longer, that one. It's a much bigger page. So let's just check it out. 3, 4. But similar. So that one, we didn't see a massive increase on this one. And I think because there is quite a bit of code on this page, I'm not going to lie to you, it's quite a customized kind of page. Let's go to Divi Form Builder. Almost instant Divi Form Builder on the staging websites. It's like 1.5 to 2 seconds, so you can really see the difference that Divi Nitro brings. So that is the results. Take a look at diviengine.com. Bear in mind, not all the pages are being cached because as users start to use the website, more is going to be cached. So if it does run a bit slower, it might be that you are the one who is caching it for the rest. And there's some clever things in there going forward, such as like warm caching and things like that, to kind of cache before it expires, so you don't get that going forward. But because it's brand new, that this will happen. if you are a user of Divi Ajax filter, membership, form builder, things like that, we have in all the latest versions we've added in filters, etc., so that it works well with Divi Nitro. So things should be working really well, and if they're not, we will make sure that we get it working well for your site, so the caching is still as fast but doesn't impact the filters and things like that. So without further ado, I thought I'll just jump straight into the settings so we can take a look at what's new in Divi Nitro. Okay, so I'm just going to break it down to different sections, so make a kind of different video for each different section. It'll be easier that way. But as you can see, there's a lot of new things over here, which is amazing. All our plugins now are working on the new settings framework, if you are familiar with that. So make sure you've updated all the plugins in order to see this. So the first thing you'll see is performance insights. So this just kind of gives you an insight. It's not like a page, speed insights or something like that. It's not actual like using Google Insights or Lighthouse or something like that. This is just our own insights. We will be adding that going in the future, but we didn't think it was that important right now. So what it does is we have like a setup score and a page score, some recommendation and some checks. So kind of the Nitro setup score is kind of like what you've set up in Divi Nitro, and then the page score is just something that we will improve going forward to check how things that can be improved on your page, and it only looks at the home page, for example. So the setup, so you can see over here, for example, delayed JavaScript has not been done, and if I click on that, I'll see it's not, but that's okay, because actually I had a few little issues with that on our site because there's some complicated JavaScript I've written, in which case that was causing the issue, so I just disabled it. But I still have super fast websites, so I'm not that bothered. But you know, these are the kind of things that you could use to kind of improve. Then if we go to the page scan, so these tabs over here you can see some insights from the home page. So for example, and there is the way we developed our website very quickly, and I made a lot of mistakes. I personally did it, and I made a lot of mistakes. So I agree with these things, such as there's too much weight in the CSS. I agree. There's 2 Divi cache files, so I need to actually check that out. Yeah, I need to actually look at that, to be honest. But yeah, there's issues over here. So 64 images on the home page. Is there 64 images? So I need to double check what that is, and some are over 500 kilobytes. So, and bearing in mind, one of the things I want to add to Divi Nitro going forward is compressing images, but that's not in there right now. But you can see how there's some kind of smart insights into how you can really fine tune your home page. So that's the page insights. Okay, so after page insights, the next one's performance presets, and over here we have just like presets that we have set that you can just enable and you're good to go. So the first one is kind of a safe one. Just click on that and it will enable smart image loading, browser cache, you know, all the different things that over here, but it won't do page caching, for example. Balanced does page caching, but it does delay JavaScript, it does a few things. And then aggressive is a bit more aggressive. So you can try these presets, just click on them, it'll auto enable our settings and you can give it a go. Yeah, so that's just a nice quick way to get going and check it out. So that's it. Okay, so this one, smart image loading, is kind of new but not new. So we had defer images for a long time. Well, we always had defer images, and now it's changed to smart image loading, which actually is modern day lazy loading. So when I did defer images back in the day, lazy loading wasn't as advanced as it is today. And what happened was often you would scroll down and then you would see a lot of white space while images are loading. It was horrible. I couldn't stand lazy loading, especially with a page with a lot of images. Defer images used to, as you load the page, it would then load all the images on the page straight afterwards. So as you scroll down, you would see the images. There are some downsides to this, as in extra resources on the server, and yeah, it's just like it's not a modern way of doing things. So really, we've improved this whole section in the way that we do it. We're using modern ways of lazy loading the images, and this is the smart one. So when you use Nitro, I'd recommend going for the smart, which is recommended. And if you want the old way, which is deferring, you can do classic or just off. So that, yeah, so just the difference really is smart. It relies on the browser. So we use the modern ways of doing things, and the browser decides when it loads the image. Classic, we decide, and we just load everything. So I'd recommend the smart. Give it a go, see how you get on. You can also have this thing called protect first images. So here you can say, okay, well actually the first 3 images I never want to lazy load, and just load straight up. I've set it to 1, and actually on Divi Form Builder there's a couple stuff where, oh, those are videos, sorry. Anyway, you can change that. You can also add some classes or IDs on ones that to never lazy load, and then some other options over here. So that's Smart Image Loading is the new name for it. Give it a go, let us know what you think. Okay, the next new feature is lazy rendering. Similar to lazy loading, but it's not just images, it's the whole Divi sections. So the browser normally just prints everything on the page, as even if it's like far down below the fold. Lazy rendering like basically just makes it load the top, and as you scroll, things start loading down the bottom. So it improves resources, it makes it quicker. There were some issues, so I don't have this enabled on DiviEngine.com, and the reason was that when you go onto Divi Machine, for example, you open up the features, I had this modal that popped up, and that modal broke when I enabled lazy rendering, because what happened was it wasn't loading the code needed for that modal. So I wanted to just check that out a bit more, but I've disabled on DiviEngine.com just to be, transparent. So this might be one that might work better on brochure sites or some less complicated websites, but give it a go, see how it gets on. On my test sites, it actually is pretty awesome checking that out. So yeah, so lazy rendering is one to check out. Okay, the other new feature that we've added is fonts and resource hints. So what this does is just kind of around the fonts, how we do things in the fonts, right? So the first one is use font display swap for Google Fonts. So what that is right now without that, when you load a website with Google Fonts, it will wait for the Google font to be downloaded, and sometimes not even show the text until Google Fonts is downloaded, which you might see that little gap of nothing being visible and then something be visible. When you enable this, what happens is it will actually fall back to text straight away, and then as soon as the Google Fonts downloaded, it swaps it to Google Fonts, so it's kind of like a switch over. So that's pretty cool. Pre-connect, so you can enable pre-connect, which is over here, and this basically opens the door early for Google Fonts or YouTube. So it doesn't load it, but it warms up the connection quicker. So in that way, it's kind of ready to go as soon as you need the Google Font or the YouTube video. You're not there. You're not making a cold start, if that makes sense. If you think of it like in a running race, you warm up, you're there, you're ready to go, you know your destination, and you get there faster. Whereas a cold start, you still have to get to your starting place, still prepare, and therefore you get there later. So yeah, that kind of helps with that. So that's it, yeah. And we'll be adding more stuff here, but that's it at the moment for fonts. Okay, probably the biggest winner in this update is page caching. So we have implemented two types of page caching. This first one is Smart Cache, and this is the one we recommend, but if you get issues, fall back to full page caching. They both use the same caching engine, so they're both just as fast. They just do it in a different way. So Smart Cache is what I would call fragment caching. So what we do is, let me just make myself bigger so you can see me. Okay, so what we do is we cache the header, we cache the body templates, we cache the footer. In the theme builder, for example, we'll cache the theme builders. In Divi 5, we'll cache the canvases, and we cache them all separately. Okay. When you load the home page, it will pull the cache for the header, the body, and the footer. It'll stitch it all together, and you get the cached result. Great. Let's say you make a change to your header. We only clear the cache for the header. So the next person that comes there and loads the site, it'll just reload the cache for the header, and the rest will all be cached, so it'll be quicker. So let's say, for example, the website takes 4 seconds to load. Okay, it won't, but let's just use that number. Okay, 1 second for the header, 2 seconds for the body, 1 second for the footer. Let's just say to cache. Okay, so that's how much it takes to cache. Once it's cached, it's like 1 second. Okay, boom. Now, with full page caching, which is the other one, you make a change to the header template, and then the next time somebody visits the page, it needs to reload the header, the body, and the footer, because it's a full page. So it'll take the whole full 4 seconds for the page to recache. Okay. Smart caching. Let's say you make a change to the header. It'll take 1 second for the header, and then that's all cached, so it'll just be another like half a second or 1 second, so it'll be like 2 seconds or whatever it is, rather than the whole 4 seconds, if that makes sense. So it's more like intelligent to do with Divi. So we can do this because we work with Divi, that we know all the different, like we can use the theme builder, whereas a lot of other caching plugins may not be aware of that, or they may be targeting all the kind of themes, so it's hard for them to do it. So that's what we do. Fragment caching, smart cache. I think it's brilliant. It's a new kind of way of thinking of how we clear the cache. Anyway, so that's just kind of where it is. So you can enable that. We have some insights, so the hit rate, which is kind of like the percentage of people who are hitting that cache file. Cache size, how big the cache is based on how many files are being stored. Where it's stored. So at the moment I'm stored on our server. Then cache pages, I've got 42 cached at the moment, and mode smart. Okay, cool. So yeah, hit rate is the share of anonymous page views served from cache, fresh or soft stale, instead of rebuilding the page. Formula equals, yeah, so that just explains a bit about it for you. The reason why the hit rate's 22% is because I've just enabled this, so there's a lot more pages that have been rebuilt. I haven't rebuilt these 42 pages. These are people who are visiting our website since I've done it. Here you can purge a cache, you can warm up the cache. Warm up the cache is, if you watched my previous one about the fonts pre-connect, warming up basically gets everything ready, kind of I always liken it to somebody on a starting block, getting physically ready, getting the starting block ready to sprint, rather than sitting in the line and having to walk over. So warming up just kind of doesn't actually cache, but it gets everything all ready to cache. Here you can set the kind of home page before it recaches. So we have it as like this one. It's basically 1 day. There's an issue with the design. Doesn't matter. 1 day. The posts and pages are more, or 1 week, and the archive pages are 30 days. You can also set paths to never cache, cookies that never get cached, do not cache filtered Ajax URLs, so you can also enable that if you want to not filter to the Ajax filter. if you don't want to cache to the Ajax filter. Here you can choose your cache store, so you can use Redis or you can use a file system. You can also purge Cloudflare on Nitro Purge, so you have to set up, you know, your API token and all that. Same as NGX. Logged in page variants. So this is some caching for people who are logged in. I would leave this off just because sometimes you could get the names wrong or something like that. So that's just be aware of that. You know, I've got a mini cart, so I want to keep that. Well, actually, I don't, but I want to keep it dynamic. Always dynamic canvases, layout IDs. So let's say you have a canvas that's been cached wrong. Add the ID in here, and we'll always make sure that Divi canvas is not cached. So that's it, or layout IDs. So anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do there. Warm after purge. So yeah, so basically queue the URLs to be regenerated for the next visitor. Yeah, so that's it really. What we do is we do try and recache before this time is up. So before the 1 day is up, we try and recache so the next visitor doesn't see that slow load, that it gets loaded. So that does happen, but sometimes it doesn't. So anyway, I don't know if I made much sense there. And then settings, we have cache pages. So here it has a full list of all the different pages that are being cached. So you can see over here all these different pages, and you can clear them, and it gives you the kind of state of how it is, it's fresh, when it was done. So this is really nice insight into seeing what is actually being cached on your website. It's quite cool because you actually see what people are looking at your website, which is nice. So that's page caching. By far the biggest speed improvement, and I love the Smart Fragment Caching technique. I think you guys will agree. That's quite a cool thing and unique to Divi Nitro that I'm aware of. The next big improvement I also find is speculative loading. So if you've ever heard of a thing called flying pages, it's kind of like an old way of doing this, but now with modern browser techniques, you can actually use this speculative loading, right? So there's different ways to do it. So the first one is prefetch or render. So prefetch fetches the page, and then as you then click on the link or something like that, it then renders it. Okay, so it kind of like, it's almost like that warm transfer, but it really downloads a few of the resources and get things all ready, and then switches over. Pre-render will render the whole page and then switch over. Now the downside to that is, let's say you have how early to prepare. So for example, on click or moderate is on hover. So when you're hovering a link, it'll then prefetch it, or eagers even earlier, like when you kind of near it. So let's say you have it on hover, right, and you have pre-render. I wouldn't recommend it, but maybe you want it. Then what happens is every time you hover a link, it'll pre-render that page, and the user might not actually click on it, in which case that's wasted resources. Now you may not care about that and you want to just make everything as fast as possible. Well, then you can use pre-render. On Divi Engine we have it prefetched, and we have it on hover. So when you're hovering a link, it'll prefetch, you click it, boom, render. That's the way it works for us, and it works really smart and really, really nice. Paths to never pre-render, you can add them all here. So yeah, I love this feature. It's one of my simple but one of my favorite ones in this new update. Okay, and the last new feature, I think it is, apart from debug, which you can use to help debug stuff, is database cleanup. So this is a simple tool to help clean up your database, and we don't go too crazy, but what we do is we clean up post revisions, auto drafts, trash, spam comments, transient, expired transients, and just optimize your tables. So what it is basically when you edit a post, it does revisions, and over time that builds up in your database. You may have hundreds of them just sitting there and you don't actually need them. Well, this clears them all for you. Auto drafts are the same, and when you trash stuff and spam comments, all that can be just cleared. Done and dusted. You don't need that in your database. Expired transients. So transients are basically like cache data. We use transient caching for our Ajax filters, for example. So when, instead of having to query the database each time, we can just use the transient cache. So it really helps to speed things up. But over time, that they can get expired and they can just sit there in the database and not actually be used. Well, this will clear that for that as well. Lastly, optimize tables. It doesn't remove anything or whatever. It just reorganizes your tables after like the deletions and the unused space. So the way database works is you have like, I don't know, post 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say you delete all that 5, it'll then go 6, 7, 8, when actually if you clean it up, it can then go back to using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it basically just cleans it all up for you and makes it like, yeah, nice and formatted correctly. You can have it run weekly automatically if you have cron on your server, which most do. At the moment we don't have a way to do a full backup, so right now take a backup before cleaning. Once you do the first one, I think the weekly should be fine. But do your first, backup, make sure everything's all cushy, and then from there you can just carry on and have it just run automatically every single week. Clean your database, making sure everything's smart. We have daily backups on our server as well, so if there's any issues, you can always go from there. But yeah, so that's it. That's all the new features. That was a lot. I hope you agree that we've really put a lot of effort into this massive update for Divi Nitro. So yeah, thanks so much for staying with us. Just to kind of run through the performance insights, or just give you some insights on how you can improve your website. Presets, quick way to enable stuff. Smart image loading, a new lazy loading technique. Lazy rendering, so that's lazy rendering your whole page. Delay JavaScript, fonts, so swapping the Google fonts and things like that. Page caching, winner right there, especially with the what's it called, the fragment smart caching, especially with that one, massive winner over there. Speculative loading, massive winner as well. Kind of rendering the page before you click the link, brilliant. And database cleanup is another undervalued feature that really will help speed up your website by reducing the size of your database. So with that, we would love to hear your feedback. Please let us know what you think. We want to hear you. Be loud. Tell us, do you love this? Do you hate this? If you've tried it, does it work as well as it has worked for us on Divi Engine site? And this is also included in our membership, especially with our annual, monthly, or year or lifetime membership. So if it works well, why not scrap the other plugins which are not in our ecosystem, if that makes sense. If you're in our ecosystem, give it a try. What's the worst that you can lose? I don't know if that's a good way to end off, but I want to end off on that note. So as always, I really appreciate all you. Love you guys so much, and have a great week.